Good morning. Happy Monday. I hope you all had a great weekend. I did a lot. I traveled from my bedroom to my family room, so that's the traveling I'm doing during this spring break time. I figured on the first day of spring break, it's a Monday, I would read chapter 2 of The Giant Germ. If you haven't seen chapter 1, tune into my other video for chapter 1. Chapter 2. The magic school bus flew through the air. Now that we were so tiny, we could see all kinds of creatures floating around us. Some looked like round balls. Others were shaped like rods or spirals. "Are those microbes?" Arnold asked. He looked as if he was afraid to breathe. "Will they make us sick?" "Not all microbes make us sick," said the Frizz. "The few that do have given all microbes a bad name. Most people don't know that microbes can do a lot more good than harm." "You mean a good microbe isn't hard to find?" Carlos said. "Not at all," the Frizz answered. "Microbes come in all different sizes, shapes, and colors," Mrs. Frizzle told us. She pulled out a poster from the glove compartment and unrolled it. It listed the 5 most common types of microbes. Here's that list. You have 1, bacteria, 2, fungi, 3, algae, 4, protozoa, and 5, viruses. I couldn't believe all the funny looking shapes. These are just a few examples of microbes, the Frizz explained. Within each category, there are many more kinds of microbes. Some are made up of just one cell, like bacteria that we see in the air. Others are made of more than one cell, but are still too tiny to see without a microscope, like fungi that make up the bread mold, DA said. "Speaking of bread mold," Mrs. Frizz turned the wheel and the magic school bus zoomed down toward the playground. I saw my sandwich on the ground next to the picnic table. The closer we flew, the bigger it looked. The mold was like a huge forest next to a shady beach of bread. Mrs. Frizzle aimed the school bus at one of the spots of mold, and we plunged right in. Yuck! I definitely wasn't hungry anymore. After we landed, Mrs. Frizzle handed out rubber boots and safety helmets. Then we all jumped off the magic school bus right onto the surface of the bread. It was spongy and tricky to walk on. The air holes in my bread were like big craters. "Whoa, this is mold?" DA said. It looked like a forest to me. We were surrounded by tall, smooth, tree-like stalks. Each stalk blossomed into a cluster of smaller branches at the top. There were so many, I couldn't begin to count them all. "Yes, indeed. Fabulous fungi as far as the eye can see," Mrs. Frizzle announced, looking at the fungi with a smile. "But what are the fungi doing here?" Phoebe asked. "They're doing what microbes do best, Phoebe, eating and reproducing," Mrs. Frizzle said. "You mean these fungi are chowing down on Keisha's bread?" asked Ralphie. Mrs. Frizzle gave a contented nod. "Isn't it amazing? Most microbes, such as fungi and bacteria, can't make their own food. They get their food from other animals or plants, like the wheat in Keisha's bread. And when they eat, big changes take place." "You mean sloppy changes," I said. My boots started sinking into the soggy part of my sandwich. "My bread is rotting." "So, these fungi are changing Keisha's bread by making it rot so they can use it for food," Tim said. "Precisely," the Frizz told him. I was still trying to keep my balance on the slippery stuff, but I got the picture. Rotting food was good for microbes, and bad luck for me. How did so many fungi get here so fast? My mom just made this bread last weekend. I didn't see a bit of mold until today, I asked. "Look up," the Frizz instructed. When we did, we saw dozens of bluish green balls attached to the top of the fungus. Those are spores. Mrs. Frizzle explained. Spores are like seeds. They're carried to new places by the wind or by animals, and new fungi grow from them, the Frizz explained. So, with the help of spores, each fungus produces dozens of new fungi. Wanda said, these microbes sure know how to get around. They work fast, too, DA said, looking at her book. Some microbes can double their numbers in less than 10 minutes. No wonder there's a lot more than just one fungus among us, Carlos joked. I did some math in my head. Wait a minute. If microbes reproduce that fast, wouldn't they totally overrun everything? I asked. They would, if conditions for growth were perfect, said Mrs. Frizzle. But if their food runs out, or if it gets too crowded, or too hot, or too cold, then microbes start to die out. Phoebe took a look at DA's book. According to this, lots of packaged foods like hot dogs and rolls contain preservatives that slow down the growth of microbes and keep food from spoiling, she said. But homemade food, like your mom's bread, don't have preservatives. So that's why it's a moldy mess, I said. All of a sudden, everything started shaking. Whoa! I grabbed the tubular stalks of fungi to keep from falling. Earthquake! Arnold cried. Relax, it's just the 4th grade kids cleaning up, said Tim. The 4th graders in our school had started a compost heap and recycling program. They towered over us as they collected trash and food scraps from the playground. We were so tiny that they looked like skyscrapers. No, bigger. Like huge mountains. Every time one of the kids took a step, the ground trembled like crazy. I never knew exploring microbes would be such a shaky experience, Ralphie said. Don't look now, but this could become a squishy experience soon, said Phoebe. Phoebe pointed towards a 4th grader girl who was walking towards us. The girl wore gloves and was busy dropping DA's orange peel into her bag of food scraps. She didn't seem to notice my sandwich lying on the ground in front of her, with all of us on it. We could see her enormous foot coming towards us. Our luck is running out, guys. The magic school bus is about to turn into the magic pancake, I cried. Stay tuned tomorrow for chapter 3. Bye.